Brian Dawkins is one of the greatest defensive players of all time, known for his big hits and his big plays that electrified his team's entire defense. But in today's video, Brian Dawkins is back in the football world as the new defensive coordinator at Clemson. And with this Brian Dawkins Clemson-led defense, the game plan is very simple. Hit everything hard, force fumbles, get turnovers, and these are the goals for today's video in this first season. We want 10 forced fumbles as a team. We need to have at least one player with 80 tackles, and then we also want to get a conference championship. And since Brian Dawkins is the defensive coordinator, the only thing we're going to be controlling is Clemson's defense. I'm not positive if we're going to turn this into a series. It'll probably just depend on the feedback of this video. But we're going to start on All-American difficulty. This is with Matt 10's sliders. Very popular slider maker. He makes them on Madden, on college football. He's done it for a long time. Very, very good at what he does. So we're going to try out his sliders with the All-American set first. If it's too easy, we'll move it up to Heisman. Injury on, wear and tear on, 6 minutes, 20-second runoff. For the sake of just getting into these games as quickly as possible and show you more of the development of the team and the way that they play, we're going to leave auto recruiting set to on. If you want a more in-depth series with recruiting and scouting and all that, go check out my Nick Saban challenge series. It'll be down in the description below. It's a full hour-long video with Alabama. You'll get to see the full team development. You'll get to see some games, and you'll get to see a ton of the recruiting and scouting. But for this series, we're going to try something different. It's going to be mostly just all gameplay and how Brian Dawkins builds up this Clemson squad on the field. This first week of recruiting is the only time I'm going to have a say in anything that happens. I scouted 9 defensive players, all 5 stars. I believe there was only 1 4-star that we did scout. I've offered a scholarship to every single one of them. The main players to look out for is Jalen Burgess. 87 speed at the right end is insane. And then we also have Mohamed Odom, the 94 speed free safety. Will these players be on the recruiting board next week? Not positive, but these are the 9 players that we've started off targeting for the beginning of this season. Brian Dawkins played some linebacker in college. He played safety in the NFL. He knows the importance of these hard-hitting players at the linebacker and safety position. So that's what our defense is going to be. A lot of hit power, a lot of tackling, screaming to the football, trying to get big plays and big turnovers. So we're going to try to quickly get to this linebacker ratings boost tier 4 with that boosted tackle and hit power. And even though Brian Dawkins is one of the most well-known, best defensive players of all time, they decided not to trust his judgment in the first week with scouting and basically removed every player that he added to the board and scouted. There's still a handful of 5-star defensive players on here, 2 5-star defensive tackles, a 5-star right end, but the 2 studs we were looking at don't seem to be on the board anymore. Before we hop into our first game, we need to show off a few key players of this defense. Number 1, it has to be Barrett Carter, the 94 overall right outside linebacker. He is a senior, so this will be his last season with us, but he is basically a little mini Brian Dawkins himself. He's got insane hit power, great zone coverage, and tons of speed. He is going to be the key playmaker for this squad, and we're going to be using him on every down of the game. And the anchor of this defense, 90 overall, Peter Woods, defensive tackle, 5-star talent. He's a sophomore, so we've got him for at least probably another season. Gold duress, gold pocket disruptor. He's going to be an absolute unit for this squad. Like I said earlier, I'm not sure if this will be turned into a series or if it'll just be a one-time video thing, but Sammy Brown, the 5-star elite development trait middle linebacker who is a freshman, this dude is going to develop into a freak of nature. He's already a beast now. 92 speed with 89 hit power is insane from a freshman. He's going to be our user on this defense, and I cannot wait to use him on this Clemson squad. And this Brian Dawkins-led defense at Clemson has a tough matchup for week number 1. It is the Georgia Bulldogs. Let's get into it. So obviously going against Georgia is a tough task. They have one of the best offenses in the entire game in real life and in the video game version. They have tons of talent across the board. Great offensive line, great quarterback, great running backs, great tight end. The only thing they're slightly weak on is their wide receivers, but even that's not too bad in video game form because they have a lot of speed. But we do get the stop on the first drive, and we go up 7-0 early in this football game. This play right here, abysmal. I mean, there's 4 players around them, just can't get them to the ground. Pursuit angles are still a little rough in this game sometimes. Sorry for the immersion killer, but that just really is kind of the case sometimes. But the very next play, they hit us with a little screen pass. We are all over it. They go with some motion, try to keep us guessing, go with another screen pass. I'm all over this one, but you saw it. I just whipped on the tackle, went for a hit stick like 5 yards behind them. Right here, I don't know. I don't know what happened. There's no deep safety over there. I guess I messed up my defense somehow. Really tough to see that. And then next drive, they throw a ball right to Sammy Brown, and it hits him in the hands. Super tough to see that, just stone hands. It happens sometimes. But anyways, he will continue to develop. He's still all over the field. The speed from Sammy Brown is just, I mean, you can see it. I'm everywhere. I can take out so many angles. I'm on a lot of the plays. I can guard so much on the field. Another drop pick from this Clemson defense. Didn't hurt us too bad because it was third down, but that would be a very nice setup for this offense. And unfortunately, we do go scoreless on the next drive. They're back on offense, and he throws a blind pass to the flat. Honestly, if he's there a little bit quicker, had the potential to be a pick six. Huge hit from Sammy Brown. Again, just the stud of this defense, the young talent. Terrible user here by me, though, honestly. I could have been on that route. I was backpedaling a little bit too much. Should have just turned around and ran with the route. But we had a huge forced fumble, first forced fumble of the season, monster hit. And after that forced fumble, we do end up scoring. We are now at 14-7 with 1:30 left before halftime. Unfortunately, look at the time he has in the pocket. Great play from that offensive line. Super hard to get any pressure against them. Another screen pass. This time Barrett Carter is all over it. Huge hit from him. 2nd and 7 with 44 seconds left. Trying to just keep everything in front of us. I'm playing on the deep safety, trying to take away anything deep. Very nice play from our middle linebackers there. 3rd and 2 with 38 seconds left. We see the motion from the running back. I kind of play it a little bit, but we get a great swat from our outside corner, and that does hold them to 3 before halftime. Georgia does start with the football at the beginning of the second half. Very nice tackle from that Clemson edge defender. 2nd and 5 now after a little unfortunate penalty. We are all over these plays right now. I feel like we're screaming to the football very well, but they're just kind of fumbling and bumbling for 4 yards of play. 3rd and 1, do pick it up once again, even though we screamed at the play quickly. Another RPO, breaks one tackle. We're all over it. 2nd and 6, again with this motion. Georgia, I honestly don't know much about them in real life, but in the video game, they go with so much motion, so many RPOs, and it usually works. Right there, we kind of scream all over that. Carson Beck's just a little bit too slow, gets some nice pressure, turn the ball over. Unfortunately, though, it looks like Clemson went for it on offense because we were down right about the 5-yard line. Maybe they punted it. I'm not positive. But we're back on defense again. We're winning 14-10, 3rd and 9. This time we're sending some pressure, trying to speed up Carson Beck, and he gets a huge play here. This was a very demoralizing play. Luckily, we do make the tackle, keep it from going all the way. Start of the 4th quarter, we're winning 14-10. Hand the ball off to Etienne. He does get pushed by his line for a nice little 3-yard gain. Nothing crazy. We're trying to force a turnover here. We're screaming to the football. 3rd and 8, I'm using Sammy Brown, and on one of the biggest plays of the game, Peter Woods gets a huge sack to give this football back to the Clemson offense, and we do end up getting a score. We are now up 21-10 with 1:52 left in this football game. They need to score and need to score fast, but we are hollering at Carson Beck right now. 3rd and 10, doing some motion, and Barrett Carter with the biggest play of the game shuts down this Georgia offense and almost takes it all the way to the crib down to the 2-yard line. We end up winning 28-17. What a start for this Brian Dawkins Clemson defense. Even though Barrett Carter had one of the biggest plays of the game, I think overall Peter Woods has to get player of the game for that. 9 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. Just kind of was everything we needed him to be that game. He shut down the run. He was there on the passing downs. Huge plays from him. And our right end, Cade Denhoff, to get our first forced fumble of the challenge. 1 down, 9 to go. And I did guess correctly because Peter Woods is your National Defensive Player of the Week. What an amazing game against Georgia. Ton of coach points from that first game against Georgia. So we're going to go ahead and max out the linebacker skill tree, get that tackle and hit power, man coverage, zone coverage, and we're also going to work on our secondary, and we're going to go ahead and max this out as well for that man coverage, pursuit, zone coverage, and that play rec. Very nice to have that for the squad. So obviously going from Georgia to Appalachian State is quite the difference, but I don't want to underestimate this team. We're going to play our same style of defense. We play very much of a 49ers style defense, not so much the cover 6, cover 9, but we want to keep everything in front of us, crash down on the football as quickly as possible, land big hits, try to get turnovers, play very aggressive. We're kind of just letting our speed and our playmakers do all of the legwork for us. And as you can see, we're already up 3-0 in this game. 2nd and 14 on this. I kind of get a little lazy with my user, drift off a little bit too much and give up a big play. 3rd and 2 for this Appalachian State team, but we have a very nice run stop here. Shoot the gap with Sammy Brown, turn the ball over. And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you this is a super close game, because it just wasn't. It got out of hand pretty quickly. 13-0 already with 2 minutes left in the second quarter. Send some heat at them, and a pick for Sammy Brown. Huge turnover already at this point in the game. We're up 23-8 in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left, 3rd and 10, and we end up getting a huge sack, making this a 4th and 16, and they kind of have no choice but to go for it. 4th and 16, we're going to send some pressure, try to make sure they get rid of this football as quickly as possible, and that's exactly what we do. Get a nice swat, turn the ball over, and with that, this game's basically over. I'm going to show you a couple of last few plays of the game. 33-8 right now. I mean, great play from Barrett Carter, knocking the football loose. And final play of the game, 4th and 3, 33-8. This was never really a football game, and we shut down the run. I mean, this team really had no chance against this squad. Brian Dawkins led defense. We are now 2-0 on the season. Very dominating day for this Clemson squad, especially the defense. 9 tackles from Sammy Brown, 2 tackles for loss with an interception on the day. Wade also had a very good game with 8 tackles, 4 tackles for loss. And I don't quite understand this, and I don't remember seeing it, but Kylan Griffin had 1 forced fumble on the day, now putting our total at 2 of 10 for the season. But something strange here is it says we have 2 fumble recoveries, but only 1 forced fumble. So I don't know if that's a visual glitch or what. But yeah, we're not going to count that. Just 1 forced fumble, so we're at 2 out of 10. Very nice day for this defense. If y'all want a part 2 of this, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. All of those let me know that you did enjoy the content and you want to see more. I know it's very different than the Nick Saban challenge. It's a lot less in-depth, way more gameplay focused, but that's exactly the way I want it to be. So if y'all do enjoy it, just let me know so I can continue to make more of it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. It's Real Jev, and I'm out.